Hi, this is Billy Starks, and you're listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
This is Little Mean Kathleen, and you're listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
Hey, Pyromaniacs. This is the unbreakable Sean Phoenix, and you're listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
Hey guys, it's the immaculate threat, Nevaeh Chantel, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
Hey, this is Gabriel Fuerza, and you're listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Sure.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Hey, this is Gabriel Fuerza, and you're listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
Hello, and welcome to the show. It's Wrestling with Entertainment, bringing you the latest exclusive breaking news, previewing and reviewing the latest shows from WWE, AEW, and New Japan every Saturday, and interviewing all your favorite wrestlers on Wednesday on YouTube and Castbox. I am your host, James J., alongside Kaliko Yachts.
Is it bad when it's International Margarita Day and you go for a margarita and you just realize you ran out of it? I think that's the most depressing thing ever.
I could imagine. And Scooter Dust.
I killed Sparky too.
And it's a great day for wrestling because we are wrestling with El Diablo, Gabriel Fuerza. How are you, Gabriel?
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm great. I like the little WandaVision reference there.
Thank you. Yes.
And could you tell us maybe what's coming up next for you and where we can find you on social media?
Sure. So I don't really got much going on, seeing as how I'm not sure where you guys are located, but Ontario's still pretty much under lockdown.
Yeah.
But my socials, Twitter is Fuerza S2 Papi, and Instagram is Fuerza Rules. You can find me on YouTube, Gabriel Fuerza. That's about it.
Great. And you work a lot for Barrie Wrestling, Crossbody, a lot of those companies in Canada. Could you maybe tell us your relationship with those companies, please?
Sure, yeah. So Barrie Wrestling, they were actually one of the first people to book me consistently. I think I started with them around 2014 or so. It's actually funny because when Barrie Wrestling started, it had taken over from a company that was already in Barrie, called PWE. So I kind of had just gotten my start with them, just barely got my foot in the door, just in time for Barrie Wrestling to come by and kind of scoop me up as one of their regular roster members. And then, I mean, since then I've wrestled for them just about every month up until now. And Crossbody is a little bit different. Crossbody I kind of stumbled upon in, I think, 2018 is when I started wrestling for them regularly. And it was actually because my tag team partner had been going to Europe, so I was just trying to pick up extra bookings, messaging everybody that I could. And yeah, Crossbody was one of the first people that really took me in as well. Though I would say those are my two like home promotions.
Sweet. And Scooter, you have a question?
And the tag team partner you're referring to, I believe, is Vaughn Vertigo, correct?
Correct.
Now, it seems like you two almost started together, and going through your match history, I noticed something very interesting. Is that there's almost for 5 different promotions a match where you face Vaughn
Yeah.
every time in different promotions. Is there any reasoning behind that, or is that just something that happened by sheer coincidence?
It's half coincidence and half reason. We try to balance our bookings so that we have like 50% tag team bookings and 50% singles bookings. because we don't really want to get pigeonholed into the whole tag team thing. But obviously, we know its value, so we're definitely not going to like just flat out stop doing it. So yeah, most promotions either bring us in as a tag team and then decide, oh, what do you guys want to do? Do you want to keep doing the tag team stuff? Do you want to break up? Do you want to just do your own thing? And typically, I think we've broken up for 2 different promotions, but we realized that it wasn't really the smartest thing to do. Like, we weren't really protecting the tag team by letting all these promotions break us apart. So now what we do more or less is, we present the fact that, yeah, we can be a tag team if you want us to be, but we're also singles guys, and that doesn't necessarily mean you have to break us up. Like, there's like this old cliche in wrestling that, like, if a tag team stops teaming, or if you want them to stop teaming, like, they have to turn on each other. But I don't think that's the case. Like, there's no reason why we can't just go our separate ways. So that's just kind of what happened in a lot of those promotions. Yeah, since we did start together, we do have really good chemistry in the ring together. Not just as a tag team, but even as opponents. So I think a lot of promoters see that and, kind of want to capitalize on it while they can.
All right.
Kalika, you have a question?
Yeah, but I wanted to piggyback on that. Yeah, they don't have to break up, man. It's like what was it when Ricochet and Aleister Black were tag teams? No one, they just broke up. No one, there was no crazy
Yeah,
hurt or anything. They just like fuck it, we just took our own way. So I see your totally get that point. It just
yeah,
feels like everything has to be like that one path, which I'm like, more than one ways to make an omelet.
exactly.
Uh,
Specifically at Barrie Wrestling, actually, we were tag team champions 1 month, and then we lost them, and then I think we both kind of disappeared for a bit, and then we came back. He was a good guy. One ended up winning the main title there, while I was had become a bad guy. And there was this whole fans kept asking me like, oh, are you and Vaughn still like friends? Are you guys still like a tag team? What's going on? Because one's a good guy, one's a bad guy. People want to know. And eventually we just kept milking it until finally we had a match for the main belt. But even that match, it wasn't like this bloodthirsty match. It was just 2 friends who are now on different paths, and the chance to team again is still always there. So I find that way more interesting than just flat out beating the shit out of each other, and then then you reunite and people are like, well, what happened? You beat the crap out of him, now you're friends again.
Well, I mean, you did spray him in the face with some type of mist in that match, and you had some
Okay.
interference. So I mean, there was a little bit of blood there.
Yeah, that one was at Destiny. Yeah, that one we didn't have too much creative control over, but we liked where it was going anyway, so we kind of went with it.
Okay.
I mean, you also won the belt though, so I mean, it ain't like you were the Barrie Wrestling heavyweight champion for a while. So I mean, gotta have some kind of gratification there. Gotta have some gratification.
I actually lost to him though, and because I had won the Barrie title well before. It's complicated, but the way it built up was so perfect because, like I said, we were brought in as just these kind of rookies, and slowly built our way up the card. I won the world title, or world title, quote unquote, the Barrie title, and I even he told me in his real self, not his wrestling character, he's like, man, not gonna lie, I was kind of jealous, and so later on when he won it, and I truly thought he deserved to win it, and I wanted to do my best to make him look as good as I thought he should look. So I mean, that match I was bumping my ass off like crazy, and I did end up losing, but definitely one of my favorite matches I've had.
So that promo that he cut before the match about you coming up together, and that was all mostly a shoot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those real feelings right there.
Exactly.
No.
Oh, dang! I didn't even get to the question.
Sorry.
I like these things. I like that. I like where it can just go anywhere, anytime. That's dope.
No. Okay.
But
Continue, Kaliko.
But honestly, I must say, me and Gabriel, I think we got a couple things in common. But I'm gonna start with as far as like the wrestling side. Uh, I know you are in Canada, Mexican in Canada, and I know that is like
Mhm.
culture shock 8.0. But one thing that I kind of link with you with, I'm from the South, so I'm from Georgia, Memphis. So I know all about this Memphis wrestling that you kind of got like
Yeah,
into
yeah, I just got into
recently.
it.
Into recently. And one thing I'm gonna give you a hookup on. If you go to Amazon, I want to say it's Amazon Prime.
Mhm.
For free, they have the best of USWA wrestling
Oh,
from
really?
like the early '90s. I want to say they're about '97, and it's all free. So it's
All right,
dope shit if you want
I'm
to
gonna
go.
write that down right now.
Because I always wanted to say like ask that question like how hard was it? Because like I feel like Canadians when it comes to like mid South territorial wrestling, it's got to be like Swahili in some instances.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty different. I expect like I went in expecting kind of like old school graps. Like, so many of the vets around here are constantly going on about like pure wrestling and how pure wrestling is kind of like super important right now. So I expected that Memphis was gonna be like like old school, like real man's man kind of like grappling. But it's just like super carny, super like over the top, super fun. Like the grappling isn't really the important part. It's just the story that they're taking everybody on. Like these larger than life kind of like faces and heels. It's so great to watch. I actually I don't know if you guys are familiar with C4, but
Yes.
it's a company in Ottawa,
Yeah.
and the way they format their cards are that the main event is always like the most balls to the wall kind of match. So it has tables, multi-man, other kind of weapons. Like they just throw everything at the wall. And that's what I was like watching. I was watching this Memphis wrestling, and I'm like, wow, it's just like a C4 main event. Like they're just going balls to the wall with all these like gimmicks, and it's great. So it was definitely weird.
Oh, wait till you see like the funny part is because in Memphis, they always did their big show on Monday nights. So like when Monday Night Raw came on for me, it was like water off a duck's back because I'm used to seeing shows on Monday. They used to do all their live shows at the Pyramid, and those shows were the wildest shows. And
Yeah, I can imagine.
in those USWA tapes, you'll see like how the psychology and I just can't wait for you to see like how so bought in. But then again, I'm from the South, and
Mhm.
like I always say, in the South, it's Jesus, NASCAR, football, wrestling, and it's not really in that order. Uh, so yeah, just take a look at it. It's gonna change your life.
Yeah, I'll definitely check that out. I'm always looking for all sorts of different wrestling to watch.
Well, coming into 2021 and 2020, what has it been like to wrestle in the pandemic era of pro wrestling? And
Uh,
how do you, approach a match differently, knowing that there's not going to be a crowd?
it's weird. I only did two shows, I think, filmed without a crowd. We got lucky and managed to squeeze in about three shows with a small crowd. Even those were weird because everybody's got masks on. You're trying to be safe. You're trying to like not get too close to everybody unless you're wrestling them.
Right.
Um, but yeah, definitely filming without a crowd is super jarring. It's like it's deafening because it's so silent and all like you can hear everything you say, like every little breath you take, every breath your opponent takes. It's like everything is like laid out there, and you're trying your best not to like speak too loudly or call anything too loudly and totally ruin the match. It's just awkward because you're used to playing off the crowd, and sometimes the crowd reacts differently than you expect them to, so you kind of like change the match in that direction. But since there's no crowd, you don't really have any pushback, so you're just kind of like, okay, well, here's the match I put together. Like it's almost like it doesn't have like a soul. It's just a match with no soul. And it's just, yeah, that's the way I would put it.
And I imagine that's frustrating to, have these like really good matches and not have the crowd to give that match that extra boost to make it, to take it to that next level, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it is always nice when the match airs, and then you get to really see whether or not what you did actually, stuck. I know for me, the one thing that I was doing specifically in the second show that we filmed was I was trying to like emote really big, and since the camera could pick up everything I was saying, I would start saying things that I thought were funny. So, I'd find a camera and say something stupid, or I'd take a bump and react in a stupid way, like just kind of like if everybody can hear what you're saying, then I'm gonna try to use that to my advantage. And luckily, the second time it worked.
Scooter, you have a question?
All right, I have two possible questions, and whether we go to my second question depends on your answer to this one.
Sure.
Does the name Tony Condello ring any bells?
Yes.
Okay, because in my day job, I am a closed caption writer, and I'm probably breaking the NDA I signed by saying this, but one thing that came across my desk was the documentary about Tony Condello. Have you had any personal interactions with the legendary Tony Condello? If so, what was he like?
No, unfortunately, I haven't. I've honestly just heard like a few stories in passing, but no, I honestly I haven't met many like local legends, unfortunately.
All right, well then we can move immediately on to my next question. Now, you've done something that in wrestling is almost considered taboo, uh, something you wouldn't see in the mainstream promotions. And that is you challenge for a women's championship.
I sure did.
And you actually won it for about 15 seconds before it got Dusty finished.
Yes.
How did that come about? Because we know it was against Jody Threat, but can you give us insight into how that happened? Maybe, I don't know if you can necessarily explain why it happened, but the reaction of people, because it happened right as everything was going into like immediate lockdown.
Yeah, so I can tell you everything about it. The Barrie promoter had decided to make a women's belt. It's normal. People want to see women's wrestling. It's fine. Problem is, our sort of part of town is pretty starved for women's wrestling. There's just a lot of like girls up on the rise, like they're not quite ready. And you know how promotions are, they only want to use so many different people. Everybody has their reasons for booking or not booking one another. So basically, the promoter had kind of booked himself into a corner because he had made Jody the champion, and now he didn't have any challengers for her. He would ask her and say, "Hey, who do you know that I could bring in?" Like, he was willing to bring people in, but it's just for some reason the stars never aligned. Either people were busy that day, or he couldn't afford them, or what have you. So it was my idea to get some heat. I thought, well, why don't I win the title and then give it to another girl, like a heel girl, a girl that she had already beaten. So the original idea I pitched was to actually win, and no dusty finish, just flat out win. Because we were doing a show on the Friday, and then the next day we were doing a second show. So I'm like, I'll hold it for the day I'll give it to this girl. She'll get tons of heat, and then if you want, Jody can win it again. I don't really care after that. Like, it's just so hard to get heat in wrestling. Um, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Alexia Nicole, but that's
Yes.
who I was. Yeah, that's who I was trying to give the belt to, and she had been a heel in Barrie, I think, the entire time that she was there. But like, it's hard, because she's this tiny little girl, and it's kind of hard to get like real heat. And she would start doing things like low blowing the referee, and at first people are shocked, and then the second time they're like, oh, now it's funny. Now we want to see that happen. So okay, we got to scrap that. We can't do that again. Um, so yeah, it was just literally my idea of getting myself some heat, getting her some heat, and then whatever he wants to do with that moving forward, then that's up to him. Unfortunately, the promoter didn't want me to win the belt, and unfortunately, he wishes that I had won it because I think Jody ended up holding the belt for like another year almost, because either she was getting very busy in the States, so she'd be in the States, or like I said, Alexia couldn't make it because he just wanted Alexia to take the belt off Jody. So for another year, just flip flop, like the title didn't change, it didn't get defended. And then I think Alexia won it eventually, and then it got retired. So it was just one of those kind of like boneheaded decisions, but with a really good intention that young promoters make sometimes.
Yeah.
And yeah, honestly, I love intergender wrestling. So any chance that I get to wrestle a girl, I mean, I'll take it. Like, I love making girls look strong. I think I bumped like 17 times for Jody. She kicked my ass, and that was tons of fun.
I was gonna say, I don't think you have to bump for Jody. I think Jody just bumps you.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, that's about it. Unless I don't think I missed anything, unless you guys got more questions about that.
I mean, you're one of only 3 people to ever hold the Barrie Women's Championship, so that's fantastic.
Hell yeah. Well, you know what? It had come to my attention that I was the first person to hold all of the belts in Barrie Wrestling. Honestly, by complete fluke. Like, the promoter, I guess, just didn't realize, and it just ended up that way. So I literally just wanted a picture with the women's belt. That's why I pitched the Dusty Finish. I'm like, I just need to get one picture with the belt. I know there's going to be a photographer ringside. I'll tell him to get the shot, and then we do the Dusty Finish. Everybody goes home happy. Cool. So yeah, now I say I have held all the belts in Barrie Wrestling, even the women's. So I guess it kind of worked out in the end.
Well, you said, and there is a follow-up question. You said that you like intergender wrestling. Obviously Joey Dredd, Alexia Nicole. What are some of the advantages that you find in intergender wrestling, and some of the disadvantages?
Well, the disadvantage is that it's kind of tricky to do like a male face versus a female heel, simply because people, even if they're into intergender wrestling, it's hard for them to turn off the fact that they don't really want to see a man hitting a woman. It's literally ingrained into us at this point, right?
Right.
So even if they know that it's wrestling and that it's it's all in good fun, at the end of the day, it's still pretty tricky to be a male face and get the good reaction that you're looking for, and not have the crowd totally hijack it and swap it, right? So what I find is, what works for me anyway, is as a face, I need to be almost like a little bit goofy, and like I really save any strikes for the end, because as soon as you strike a girl and she takes this big bump, you may not have touched her, but now you're the bad guy, or now you're getting that like oh reaction,
Right.
So whether I'm the good guy or the bad guy, I do my best to save that one good punch until the very end. So that's kind of a disadvantage, that you have to kind of like be extra careful in the way that you're planning the match. And different people have different formulas, obviously. That's just one that I've found has worked for me. In terms of advantages, I mean, honestly, I think they highly, highly, highly outweigh the disadvantages. Like, I'm not a very big guy, but for a typical girl, I am. So I can post for anything. I can make them do all the twirly flip ranas, whatever they want. Like, I be there to catch it. It's no problem. I personally think it's easier to build a sort of simple story, especially if the guy's the bad guy and the girl's the good guy, because the fans already see that, oh, this girl's fighting a guy. I like her more because she's tough, and this guy's fighting a girl. Oh, he sucks. He's weak. Immediately that's the thought that people have when they see that match. So you're already kind of like one step ahead. And like I said, if you just sort of don't go overboard and like destroy the girl in the first, like 5 minutes, then you can actually milk it and get a pretty cool underdog match. Or in the case of Jody, where she's like about the same size as me, I mean, she just beats the tar out of me while I'm just cowardly, like. I think even in that match, what I did, because it was my first intergender wrestling match, and I was like, Jody, listen, I have to pitch something, and I totally understand if you say no. And I mean, her and I are pretty close friends, so it wasn't too difficult to ask her. But I told her, I'm like, listen, how about for the cutoff, I kiss you, right? Because the crowd's gonna not expect that. They're gonna think, "Oh my God, this guy's disgusting. He just kissed her. That's sexual assault. That's not even like hitting her anymore." But you're still getting like this disgusting response.
Right.
Obviously, she was down, and yeah, it worked out great. Obviously, it's not something that you can do every single match, but you know what I mean. Like, it's just all these little things that were kind of not up for grabs before are now totally open.
And I do have just one follow-up question before Kaliko asks another question. I'm not entirely sure how to ask it, so I'm just going to say it this way. Has Jody ever hit you below the belt?
Not on purpose. She might have caught me by accident, but I don't think so.
I just asked because it's a callback from another interview with Holden Albright, and she hit him below the belt, and it did not go well for him.
Yeah, no, I don't think she did. Definitely not on purpose. I mean, she might have, wrestling, it just happens, right? So she might have like headbutted me there by accident. Who knows? Like stray knee, stray elbow, but none that I can recall.
Fair enough. Kaliko, you have a question?
Yeah, actually, that segues into another female wrestler we both like, Alicia Fox. I swear to God, people don't know. Alicia Fox to me is like, she's underrated and unsung in so many ways, and I just wanted to know, like, because I know you kind of like her style, and what characteristics drew you to her?
I am all about her chaotic energy. Like her Rumble entrance from 2018. I must have watched that like 60 times. It's so funny and so perfect. Ever since she started doing like the whole crazy person gimmick, I've totally been a fan.
Well, I'll follow up with this because I'll give you a little story that I had. WrestleMania, it was WrestleMania 32. We were in Dallas, and for some odd reason, I go to this bar after NXT Takeover. Everyone's buzzing about NXT Takeover. Go to the bar, go downstairs. Alicia Fox is there, just chilling, right?
Uh-huh.
Everybody's trying to buy her a drink, right?
Of course.
And she's like, no. So me thinking outside the box, I go up to her. I was like, excuse me, miss. I know you don't drink, so I'm just trying to see if I could take you to the 7-Eleven and buy you some Capri Suns.
And did that work?
It worked.
Whoa! Okay.
It worked.
That's
because
awesome.
everybody was trying to buy her alcohol. And I was like, you know what? We'll go with the juicy juice strippers, right? So we end up partying, and then I ended up in a dance-off with her in the middle of the bar. So I
Right.
still have that on tape, and I was lighting her ass up. For some odd reason, she's a good soul, but she can't dance worth shit. Um, but I'll show you that video.
Yeah, that's a great story. That's probably the best like I met a wrestler story I've ever heard.
Scooter, you have a question?
Well, let's see. Nothing to reference when I was in the ring, but okay. Two matches in particular I want to discuss. One, you wrestled Joey Janela under the name Octavio,
Yes.
and two, you've teamed with the legendary Chavo Guerrero.
Yes.
Well, if you could explain how Octavio came to be, and then after, explain how did teaming with Chavo come about, and what was that like, and what did he teach you?
Sure. So Octavio was the brainchild of Osiris, who used to run UWA Hardcore
Mhm.
in Ontario, and he was trying to make like a comeback show called Abaddon, and I guess through keeping his ear to the ground, or through the grapevine, he became interested in myself and Vaughn Vertigo. So, I mean, long story short, Osiris is a very particular man. He's very, I don't know, unique. He would call us and have like hour-long conversations about what he wanted to do with the show and what he wanted our characters to be. And the reason he wanted me to go by Octavio is because he had watched a Mexican movie, and I mean, it was a very good Mexican movie. I'll give him that. But he wanted my character to sort of mirror the character in the movie, and his name was Octavio. So he asked, "Well, can I name you Octavio?" And I said, "Sure, whatever you want." It says Fuerza on my butt anyway, but like, if you can get around that, that's fine. So yeah, he decided that I would be Octavio. And actually, I mean, that whole weekend is just a crazy time. We had to help him set up the venue beforehand, and it was like it was unlike any other venue setup I had ever been a part of. He brought his own scaffolding so that he could raise the chandeliers and then use his own lights. He had built the ring himself. At one point, the ring had like a issue with it, so we we stuffed a bunch of car jacks underneath one side of the ring to keep the wood from dipping.
Oh, stabilizers.
Yeah, it was just a crazy, crazy time. And yeah, at the time, Joey Janela, I mean, he wasn't the name he is now. I think I had his first match in Canada, so
Wow.
that's literally just how it happened. Like he was just like, "Hey, I'm booking a bunch of these CZW guys and a bunch of Ontario guys," and I mean, he had bigger plans for it in the future. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, but that's how that came around. um, and sorry, what was your second question?
You teamed with Chavo Guerrero.
Ah, yes, Chavo. Yeah, that one. I don't really know how that one came around. Oh no, you know what? I do. So Smash Wrestling, who normally ran in Toronto and Etobicoke, they were doing a show in Pickering, which is where I live. So the promoter, he let me know. He's like, "Hey man, so if you can help me sell some tickets, then I'll give you some kickback, and I'll book you on the show." And I'm like, "Sure, that sounds great." I think C4 had booked Chavo Guerrero the night before, so Smash was able to split whatever fees to fly him in and hotels and all that stuff with C4. So actually, I think me and another wrestler drove Chavo back to Toronto with us, so we had that whole car ride. Um, I mean, mostly he was just kind of like shooting the shit, telling old road stories. Nothing like crazy. But yeah, the day of the show, it was It was honestly was nothing special. Like Chavo himself was super cool and super easy to plan with, and like seeing the way he planned matches was really insightful, and he was there to have fun, obviously. So the match was a triple threat tag, and it was just kind of standard spotty sort of triple threat tag match. I think he brought out Pepe, his horse,
Ah,
at one point. So like it was just like a fun uh, get your shit in, leave the crowd happy kind of match.
yeah.
Um, it
Anyone
just
asking to drive the golf cart from
unfor- unfortunately no golf cart. But yeah, it was fun. Chavo was cool. I think I still have his phone number actually, but obviously never gonna use it. I've managed to acquire a few random phone numbers that I'm never gonna call, but I like having them on my phone.
Oh, me too. I have also acquired some phone numbers. Jimmy Uso for one.
That's a cool one.
Alex Reynolds and John Silver, but only because I broke into the business with them.
Okay.
I trained with them, but yeah, it's weird how we end up sometimes just coming into this information, but we just never use it. But
Yeah.
No,
I mean, I
continue.
just wanted to say, usually just when someone of Chavo's legacy is involved, usually there's a training session or a seminar involved.
Yeah, I wish. Unfortunately, either it wasn't set up or not enough tickets were sold. Who knows?
Mm.
But yeah, unfortunately, there was no seminar.
Now, kind of piggybacking off of, big names you've been in the ring with, you and Vaughn Vertigo of Fight or Flight, you wrestled Josh Alexander and Eden Page, the North, who was like a major tag team before, Eden Page ripped out his own heart. Uh, you had a couple matches with them as well, and you were on the winning side of that. Could you maybe tell us about that and maybe what you learned from the North?
Sure. Well, with Josh, it's actually very funny because at first, when Vaughn and I had just broken in, I think we didn't waste any time getting heat. I think Josh was one of the first people to let us know that he did not like us, and that he didn't really want to hang out with us at a show or whatever. Like that whole thing. And it's just crazy because now we're like best friends almost, and I seriously don't know how that happened. I think it's just because we had made a sort of boneheaded but like nothing crazy sort of mistake in our first year or two. And I mean, at the time, Josh was, very defensive about wrestling, and he thought like, well, if you guys aren't going to take it seriously, then just get out, which is totally fair. We were just two immature kids trying to be funny on the internet, right? And I think I ended up winning Josh's respect kind of slowly when he held a seminar at Battle Arts, and I was there both days, busting my ass, trying to do the best I can, asking questions, and from there I would just, I guess, keep up conversations with him here and there. I'd see him at a show, say hello, just try to be as nice as possible. And he had actually, I feel, simmered down in his veteran status. So the only reason we ever even got that match, I think, was because Josh took a liking to Vertigo and I, and well, since Paige is his best friend and he runs, the show, I would assume that he spoke to him as well and said, hey, these guys aren't that bad, maybe we can book them. That's what I assume happened. As for how we got some of the matches that we got in A1, I seriously don't know how that happened, because it was almost like 1 month, we're like, oh, well, A1, yeah, we're never getting on there because, Paige and Josh don't like us. And then all of a sudden, you're like, oh yeah, can you guys work? And can you be in this match with these Impact guys? And like, oh, you're going over on us. It's like, what? Are you sure?
Right.
And
One of the matches was you teamed with Trey Miguel, and they had Brian Cage.
yeah, yeah, we ended up winning that one. So I remember thinking like, this is strange. What is happening? Like we normally lose, especially when you come into a new company. Like you lose for a while, and then eventually you sort of get rolling. But yeah, I mean, A1 has been really, really great to us. And I mean, wrestling Josh or Paige or them together, like it's always a learning experience. They have so much knowledge. Um, I definitely think that they're the best wrestlers in Ontario, at least, maybe even Canada. So there's always something to learn, whether it's positioning, where to put certain moves, how to transition into certain things, how to listen to the crowd, how just things that you can't really learn from training, things that you have to learn by being in the ring, and specifically being in the ring with somebody who's better than you.
And is that gratifying to have one of your peers not only bringing you into their company, but putting you over and on them? Is that like something that is like wow?
Oh yeah, 100%. I've always wanted my goal in wrestling is to leave it better than it was when I found it, and you literally can't do that if people don't like you. It's just not possible, right? You need to be a good person. You need to be friendly. You need to be amicable, and to be able to say that Josh and I are good friends now, um, especially since we started off on the wrong foot. I think no, that is great. It is really gratifying, and I mean, knowing that he has my back is like it gives you all the confidence in the world.
Awesome. Kaliko, you have a question?
Yeah, mine's more like now this is where we get into the fun stuff. The stuff that you really care about, or things that you might want to care about. People, one thing I can agree with you on, man, is it is hard as hell to cook basmati rice, my man. Like I feel you, and it's funny because especially as a method, like when you're Mexican, because you make your rice one certain way, and then because me. I have a Mexican wife, so I try to do it three different ways: the basmati rice to try to do curry, and then you got the Spanish rice to go with your tacos and your enchilada verdes, and then you got my rice, which is like sweet rice. So that gratification when you first got it perfectly, and I need some advice from you on cooking that, man, because it is hard as hell.
Dude, honestly, the only thing that I did differently, so the first time I think I boiled the rice and the water together. The only thing I did differently was make sure that the water was boiling before I put the rice in. Because you have to soak it first. You soak it for like 15 minutes. And apparently, that gets all the starch out and softens it up a little for you. And then you boil the water, chuck that in there, put a lid on, simmer 10 minutes. Then you go and check it after 10 minutes. If it's nearly there, then you just take it off, keep it covered, and then 5 to 10 minutes, it should be good to go. I've managed to get it down perfect like 2 times in a row now, so I think I'm okay.
Sound like I need to take some notes after this show.
Cooking with Fuerza coming to YouTube soon.
Yeah.
Scooter, you have a question?
Now, I've noticed you do a lot, maybe not necessarily a lot, but you do a fair amount of Twitch streaming. You've done a bit for a charity and whatnot. Can you elaborate more on what you do? Because these days a lot of independent talent have Twitch channels. With except for the stern hand of the of Stanford. Can you elaborate more on if
Yeah.
you on what you do on your Twitch channel, what you play, and
Sure. So first of all, I actually don't have a Twitch channel. but I pretty much hop on anybody else's Twitch channel if they ask me to. I have quite a few friends who do Twitch, so I think I started going on Puffs originally because he doesn't do games or anything like that. He just literally sits there and shoots the shit with the fans, which is a lot more up my alley than
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
yeah. So what he does is he just sends me a link and he'll say, hey, if you want to hop on, and 90% of the time I do. So we just talk and literally it's just talking, and sometimes we'll read the chat, answer some questions, watch some funny videos. I think we watched a wrestling match the other day. It's just a fun little way to interact with fans, especially since Puff is in Buffalo. Like, a lot of his fans aren't my fans, so this is a way for me to kind of expand my horizons a little bit. But yeah, like, I mean, it's so hard to put out enough content to keep yourself relevant. And I guess really one way to stay relevant is just to kind of pop in on people's Twitches every now and again.
Without a doubt, I know. I do that as well with Mr. Colt Cabana, with two guys pretty well, actually only one, Uno,
Mm-hmm.
who is usually always playing Among Us. In fact, there was an AEW Among Us stream where they were doing stuff for charity. I mean, this is the most, when they're on Twitch, and that's when you really see the real person, I think. Now, does Barry have something planned for WrestleMania weekend, as I was reading?
Yeah, it's what I hear. I can't say for sure because I'm not really sure myself, but I don't know if it's gonna be a live streamed show or a pre-recorded show, or I don't know, maybe it's not even a show for all I know. But yeah, apparently something is in the works. So hopefully something happens.
All right.
Definitely. Now you've had a lot of single success. You've been Barry champion. You've been Three Pistols champion. Women's champion as we've covered. Um, but you've also had a lot of tag team success with Vaughn Vertigo as well.
Yes,
So
sir.
my question is, are you a tag team wrestler that does singles matches or a singles wrestler that does tag team matches?
Oh man, I don't even know, honestly. It's become so strange because it's like the two of us have our own characters when we're singles wrestlers. I'm the whole Diablo thing, and I don't know whatever that means. And Von Vertigo's doing his visionary stuff. And when we become a tag team, it's like that stuff almost goes right out the window. Like, as a tag team, we're almost different people than we are as separate. So I want to say I'm both, but if I had to pick one, oh man, I mean, I guess I probably wrestle more singles than I do tag, but I think I'm most like creatively stimulated in tag team wrestling.
That's fair
Tag team
enough.
wrestling, yeah, it just has so many different like variables that you can play around with, and I don't think a lot of tag team wrestling really takes advantage of it nowadays. So I mean, it's definitely the most interesting kind of wrestling if you ask me.
It's kind of like when Triple H and Shawn Michaels team up. You know, they've had blood rivalries, and he's the game, and he's Shawn Michaels. But when they come together, they're D-Generation X type deal.
Yeah, more or less.
Right. Right. Kalika, you have a question?
Actually, I do. Now, this part, I just want to ask, why do you hate the Karate Kid, man? Like,
Oh man.
what's your beef with the Karate Kid? Now, granted, I will give you this much. I always felt like the story was more about Johnny and how Daniel fucked over Johnny. But, but why do you hate the Karate Kid so much?
All right. Well, okay. I think part of it is because my mom passed on her hatred of it towards me. Because I mean, I don't even know when it came out, but I don't think I was born yet.
So this
But
is generational hate.
yeah, man, I don't think my dad even likes it either. Like, I think the main problem I have with it, and it's not that I hate it. It's that I hate that it's called an action movie. Like, the only reason I realized how much I hated it was I don't know if you guys listened to the New Day podcast, but they did their whole action tournament, and man, that was some bullshit. Like, the Karate Kid should not have been in that tournament at all. It's not an action movie. It's barely a martial arts movie. It's just like a teen movie. It's fine, but it's just like a teen movie. There's very little action. There's just minimal martial arts. Like, I grew up on Jackie Chan movies, Bruce Lee movies, Jet Li. Like, I grew up on real martial arts movies. So like when I went and watched that, thinking that it would be like a cool karate movie, I was super disappointed.
I
I
felt
think
more like a John Hughes.
So the Karate Kid 2 couldn't win you over when he went to Japan. And was getting that ass beat on the regular.
You know what? I can't really remember the second one. I know I've watched it because it used to come on the TV a lot, but I don't know. It also doesn't help that like the dude that played Daniel, yeah, Daniel's his name. He's like 30 when he plays Daniel. That's weird.
Yeah, the movie came out in 1984. I think they attribute it being an action film because it was directed by John Avildsen, who directed the Rocky movies.
That's fair. That's
So
fair.
most likely, it's considered drama first, then action. And I would actually agree with you that it's not really an action movie. I think it's considered an action movie vicariously by association.
Yeah, that's fair. And yeah, like I said, I don't necessarily hate it, but I mean, I'm probably never gonna watch it again. It's just not that great for me.
But would you watch Cobra Kai?
I would watch Cobra Kai, because I haven't seen it. Can't decide whether I like it or not if I haven't seen it. And B, I mean, I've heard great things. And we both know that Daniel was the villain of the Karate Kid. So I'm looking to see what happens on the other side.
That is correct.
Yeah, and yeah, it does flip it around. And to avoid spoilers, I will avoid saying anything else. But you know, while we're on movies, I did mention that WandaVision quote.
Mhm.
Are you big into the Marvel in general, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and if so, who's your favorite?
Oh man, I have been a comic book nerd since I was like 10. So when the Marvel movies started coming out, oh my god, I was losing my mind. I
I
watched every single one. Sorry,
I
go on.
I am holding in my hand right now a Marvel year by year visual history.
Oh, nice.
That is how much of a fan I am. It's one of the huge things I nerd out about. That and Star Wars.
Okay, yeah, I went through a Star Wars phase for a few years there too.
Well, me and Scooter's never grown out of it.
Hey man, I'm literally like looking at my lightsaber right now, so I'm still kind of in it too.
Yeah, continue.
I have my animatronic Grogu and my dark saber.
Oh yeah, nice.
And I have Darth Maul's lightsaber and Darth Raven.
Nice. I just got, I don't even know what it's called. It's from the newer movies. It's the God, it's like a lightning rod type thing. It's from the stormtroopers hold on to it.
What did they call it?
The baton?
They call
No, it's not
but
baton.
I think it's a staff. I know it's a harvesting tool in Fortnite. Uh, I can't remember exactly what the name of it is though.
Yeah, so I mean, I just picked this guy up like probably a year and a half ago. Just I'm trying to get out of that Star Wars fandom, but they keep pulling me back in.
Let's continue on the comic book part of this.
Yeah, yeah. So
What do you read? Are you more DC or do you lean more towards Marvel?
definitely more Marvel, but it's kind of ironic because the reason I got into it was because my dad used to read comic books, and he was really into DC. He was specifically really into the Green Lantern. So yeah, like I mean, pretty much every year since I found that out, I would try to like buy him comic books. But he's just such a just such a manly man who only does work and stuff like that. That he's not really interested in anymore. So pretty much every comic book that I gave him is now in my shelf, but that's okay.
Well, yeah, it's funny you mentioned the Green Lantern because there's a connection between the Green Lantern in wrestling in terms of each color of the Green Lantern core, as it pertains to the colors of Mist in Japanese wrestling.
Oh yeah, hey, I never realized that.
They're not exactly the same. Green is not exactly will, but yeah, if there is yellow. Yellow is fear. Uh, Black. In
One
terms of
was
Mist,
mind control.
yeah,
Red was rage.
Yeah, red was rage, and blue, I believe, was possession. I can't. Don't quote me exactly on that.
I think we've been waiting way too long to ask this question. Tell us about Psycho Mike and the boys, murdering Detective Cookie Dough's tag team partner, and the match where she actually avenged her partner in Backyard Pro.
Oh man, yeah. So the Psycho Mike and the boys, that was Vaughn Vertigo's idea. He thought it would be hysterical if we had these rinky-dink little band people playing me to the yard. I don't know if it was his idea or my idea to use the Guitar Hero instruments. Again, it's just like so stupid, it's just good fun.
Oh, I loved it. It
Thank
made
you.
it feel like a real big match because you had live music.
Yeah, exactly. The promo where I murdered, I think his name was Deputy Gumdrop, which I can't even like say without laughing. I don't really. I think we just knew we had to do some sort of promo, so we all just drove over to Ron Vertigo's house and kind of figured it out from the ground up. Originally, I wanted to do kind of like a haunted house kind of thing, but obviously, I mean, we have a pretty tight budget and only so many places that we can shoot, so it kind of ended up sort of becoming that. And yeah, I just thought it would be funny to like spoof some sort of horror movies with like the whole cliche of the mirror. Um, you look down and then you look back up and there's somebody there. I just like I don't really know how it came together. I didn't love the final product. I wish I could have taken a little more time to kind of look at the footage and think, let's shoot this again. But the problem with Vertigo and I, and especially with like promos, is we'll take a promo that's 20 minutes and end up working on it the entire day because like we're just literally like perfectionists. We're like, no, I didn't like that one. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. Oh, what if we change this? Oh, and then now we're editing it and we're like, oh, what about this? Oh, add this, add this. So I was just kind of biting my tongue. I'm like, let's just get it out there. The match is what's going to be important anyway. So yeah, the match. I think it just made sense for Detective Cookie Dough to be the one to challenge next for the title.
Well, she won a pole battle royal.
Yes, she did. To earn that right, she practically drowned Jay Wheeler in the process.
Any relation to
So
Jay? Yes, Jay Wheeler. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a
yeah,
couple of Wheelers on that show.
yes. Well, yeah. So the reason Jay Wheeler came around is like I said, we had the idea to do this whole freaking backyard show, and I thought, well, you know what's funny is backyard wrestlers who train for a little bit and then they think they're hot shit. And I thought, okay, well that's gonna be my character, hot shit. And I'm like, what can I call myself? And I thought, okay, well I'm gonna be Mark Wheeler's biggest fan, so I'm gonna steal Wheeler. And what could be my first name? And I don't know if you know this, but Josh Alexander used to wrestle as Jay Phoenix. So I'm like, oh, Jay Wheeler, perfect. So that's why there's two Wheelers, is because Jay Wheeler is a huge Mark Wheeler fan.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you were about to say Cash for a second.
Yeah. So the match, I mean, it was just tons of fun. Like it was literally just like it was more like shooting a little mini movie than having a wrestling match. I had so many ideas coming in, and thank God that Vertigo was like patient and open to these ideas. Um, it just made sense that she won, so that's why I wanted to get some sort of well, I mean, I never said I killed him. He might still be alive, just kind of hurt. I just wanted to set up some sort of how you put it, like something
foreshadowing.
for her. Yeah, like something for her to avenge. I need her to be angry. I need her to be motivated. And winning the pool battle royale, that's all fine and dandy, but like there's no beef between us, and now there is because I either killed or maimed her her deputy. Um, so yeah, I mean the match was so much fun. Like just riffing off each other, trying new stuff. I don't think either one of us had wrestled in like 2 months, so full of energy.
And during that match, you actually died and resurrected as Jason.
Yes, I was Jason Wheeler.
Where did you get the mask?
Where did I get it? That
No, I mean,
mask.
literally, where did it come? Like, because that's one of the things they were saying
Oh,
in the commentary, and
it's the
going
magic of editing, brother.
going back to the notion of backyard wrestlers had one day of training. Somebody slips in a very recent line about Nia Jax.
Oh yeah. Oh damn, I can't even remember what I said. What did I say? Remind me if you remember.
It's something related to my hole, I believe.
Oh, right. Yeah, I was ahead of the curve on that one. That one was on the match with Mark Wheeler. That one we didn't plan a single thing. We were just gonna go in there and like figure it out and have fun. And yeah, he ended up choking me out with my own nunchucks, and then literally kicked me right in the asshole practically. So my reaction was like, oh, I should scream into the camera because like I said, there's no crowd, so we got to find the camera. So yeah, I just yelled my gooch, and yeah, now I stole my bit.
Oh my god, that's fabulous.
Just one more thing. Whose idea was it to work with a literal rock?
I'm pretty sure that was Psycho Mike's idea. He's a genius when it comes to like comedy wrestling, so we didn't question anything he wanted to do. We're just like, just whatever you got, let's do it.
Oh my god, that's unbelievable. Oh, right, and you had the Jason that Jason pop up. Are you a big horror fan?
Oh yeah. Half my room is horror collectibles, and the other half is, miscellaneous.
And favorite horror movie, right off the top.
Sorry?
What's your favorite horror movie, right off the top of your head?
Probably Friday the 13th Part 3.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I fluctuate between a few, but I think I'm more of a fan of the alive Jason rather than the zombie Jason.
Mhm.
Jason goes
Although
to hell.
No, no,
Yeah.
we don't talk about that one.
Yeah.
no. Technically, an official Friday the 13th movie. They couldn't get the rights to call it a Friday the 13th
That-
movie.
That's true. That's true.
Uh,
That's why it's called Jason's Dead.
Yep. And mine, I'd have to go with Down Alive by Peter Jackson.
Okay.
First early, I love those early gore, yeah, zombie movies.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
I was just watching a video yesterday about the horror movie Iceberg, in terms of there's 7 tiers, and Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th are at the top, and as you get below the surface, there's like way more depraved stuff. One only off the top of my head, a Serbian film.
Oh yeah, I've definitely heard of
And yeah,
some of those.
we don't recommend them, but
No.
Well, my favorite horror movie is Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, that's a great one.
Yeah.
That's actually one of the best movies of all time. Period.
Exactly. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. That's just perfection in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Kaliko?
goodbye.
Never really been like the horror movie. The only movie, because the black guy always got killed first. So the best moment and here's the funny part. The black person got killed so much that the first guy that tried to square up on Jason made Black History Month. So that's when he tried to run Jason that fade, and I can't remember what it was. I was like, at least he had the right idea.
Yeah, that was from Jason Takes Manhattan. Just
Yep.
tried to talk the shit out of him.
His head right off.
Hey, at least he gave tried to give him a 2-piece of the biscuit on the way out.
Oh, yeah,
Give him props on that one.
Kaliko, you have a question as well?
Actually, it's more of a debate because he sat there and said that "Hey Delilah" is the creepiest song of all time.
It's creepy.
To you, sir, have you not heard "Hello" by Lionel Richie?
Oh, is that creepier?
Hello. Yes, he's literally spinning, and the video's creepier because he's like kind of watching her from a distance.
Oh, okay.
And he's like, and these lyrics are like, "I'm waiting outside your door. Hello." That one, or Clay Aiken, "Invisible." If I was invincible, I'd watch you. I'm like, wait, what?
Hey, that song got me through a lot of high school moments.
Like, wait, what?
Have you ever heard this thing song, Every Step You Take?
Yeah, every breath you take. That's another one. Yeah,
That is terrifying. That is a stalker song.
every step you take, I'll be watching you. I'm like, shit. This is dedication right there.
One could argue that Adele songs are also in the same vein, but one could also argue that Alanis Morissette has put out some very creepy stalkerish songs. What is the one where she literally talks about being in her she literally breaks into her, I'm not sure it's her boyfriend, but the guy she likes' house, and of course, You Ought to Know. And there's a lot that's open for interpretation.
There's a lot of creepy songs out there. The only reason why I say "Hey There Delilah" is the creepiest is because we know that there is a real Delilah and she is not interested, and this man wrote a song about her anyway. That's the only reason it's creepy.
And you know what? Touche. I think that might actually be the best.
He's like, "Hey man, Delilah, I don't want you." Okay.
I mean, when you've heard the parody of it, basically goes, "Hey there, Delilah, what's it like to have big?" And I'm gonna stop there. It kind of it takes it out of it, but yeah, I now will never look at that song in a different way again. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, you are from Canada. Not technically a Canadian from Canada. You're a Mexican from Canada. So,
Sure.
so Scooter, you have a food-related question.
So
Where, yeah. And first of all, Canadians can only be from Canada. Otherwise, they're not Canadians. No, but I am a foodie. You're a foodie. Poutine, yes or no? And if yes, where's the best?
poutine, yes, definitely yes. Best poutines I've had have been out of like Quebec, but I'm not like a poutine connoisseur or anything, so I can't really say where you can find the best poutine necessarily. I just know they're good in Quebec. They use the right kind of cheese.
Yes, it's got to be white cheddar curds.
Yeah, it's got to be curd. Some people just like shred up cheese and give you that, and I'm like, what the hell is this, man? Take it back.
All right, and I'll ask now since we mentioned Green Lantern and God knows
Wait. Before you ask that question, there's one more
Okay.
food question. Pineapple on pizza. What's your stance?
Yes, 100% yes. And quite frankly, I think people are making too big of a deal about it, man. Everybody's got different taste buds. People like different things. Who cares? Put friggin' peppers on them. Put pineapple on them. Put mushrooms on them. I don't care. All I cared about is what's on my pizza.
See, now I got a question about him because he's a Mexican in Canada. What's with all Mexican spots?
What's what?
Are there any in Canada?
Like Mexican food spots?
Yeah, because I stay in San Diego, so it's like literally like the
it's popping up
Starbucks of you stay popping. So
Yeah.
they don't have no Juan Bertos or Halibertos or my cousin Diablo's Bertos.
Yeah, as far as I know, there's at least one good spot in Toronto. We have a little market called the Kensington Market, and there is a little place where you can get some tacos al pastor, and they're delicious. And
Ooh, al pastor.
yeah, that's where I go there for my cheat meals. That's for sure.
All right. And Scooter, I cut you off. You have a question.
Now, yeah, we mentioned the Green Lantern, but of course we don't talk about the abysmal Green Lantern film. But as a person living in Canada, do you believe Ryan Reynolds is truly Canada's greatest national treasure?
No way. Not even close. He's cool. Don't get me wrong, but he's not even my favorite Ryan. I like Ryan Gosling better.
Damn. All right. Cool.
I like YouTube Ryan better than Ryan.
Next, off the cuff, question. Who's your spirit Pokemon?
My spirit Pokemon. Oh man. Okay.
I saw you sleeping with Snorlax. I saw you sing the Pokemon theme, so I know you're a fan.
Oh yeah. I just literally spent like the last weekend on Pokemon Go, like probably for like 12 hours. Well, okay. My favorite Pokemon is Mew, but that's probably not my spirit Pokemon.
Mew, it's my destiny.
That's
I would say
Mewtwo guy.
Gyarados. Oh, you like Mewtwo?
I'm a Mewtwo guy, so we're vibing here.
Yeah, I think Mew is my favorite, but I think Gyarados is more my spirit Pokemon because he's grumpy as hell, and so am I.
Squirtle.
I could actually see that. Yeah. All right.
Bulbasaur.
And we are getting. It is time once again for that segment, everybody knows. Gabriel Fuerza with your adventure. You're a wrestler that goes up and down the roads. Weird, crazy, and bizarre things are bound to happen. Can you maybe tell us a story that fits that description?
Sure. I actually just told a similar one. Um, I drove around Ultimo Dragon for a weekend once. That was probably the coolest thing.
Wait a minute, the wrestler Ultimo Dragon?
Yeah, the wrestler Ultimo
That's
Dragon.
my fucking J right there.
I know. I got his phone number too. Yeah, no,
Did he trip entering the car?
he did not. Yeah, no, we just my partner and I drove him around because C4 again had booked him and he had another show in Toronto the following day. So yeah, we just drove him back. Ended up driving him around Toronto. He gave us money for lunch, which was hysterical. We ended up just hanging out with him during the show. I was the only one who spoke Spanish and English, so I was kind of translating for him. And yeah, that's probably the best road story I have. The worst road story I have, besides seeing a freaking dead body on the freeway once.
Oh my god.
Yeah, some guy got hit, like he wandered onto the highway and got hit. And
damn.
yeah, lucky me, we were driving by. Traumatized me, that's for sure.
Oh, shit.
But yeah, I think another time we drove through a snowstorm to Ottawa, which is normally about 4 hours, and I think it took us like 8 hours because we were just driving so carefully. Nearly got hit by a 16-wheeler on the way back. Like it was not safe. Yeah, we definitely learnt that not all bookings are worth potentially killing yourself over, especially a booking that will be there next month. So yeah, those are my top 3 right there.
And those are pretty good stories. Kaliko, Scooter, you have any last questions before we almost conclude?
My only thing is it's Fuerza, not
Fuerza.
Fierza.
It's
It sounded like you were saying Frieza.
abbreviation on the word for fire.
My wife would kill me if I didn't say that.
Yeah. Thanks, Kaliko.
My apologies. My apologies.
It's been driving us in fuego.
Gyoza.
Driving us loco en la cabeza, cabrón.
Scooter, you have a last question?
No question.
Alright. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
5 years. The dream has always been to open up a school. I don't know if I'm quite ready for that yet. I'd like to have more experience, a little more name value before that. But hopefully, working regularly, both in and outside of Canada, at the very least, and maybe starting to get a school up and running, and definitely debt free.
I think that's the most important part right there.
Yeah.
And what is a match that people should go out of their way to see that best shows off what Gabriel Fuerza is all about?
I've had some pretty good matches, I thought, at Crossbody. Those are all on IWTV. Specifically, the match that I had with either Vaughn Vertigo or Justin Sane or even Daniel Garcia, I think those are all pretty good. And if you don't have IWTV, Vaughn Vertigo versus Gabriel Fuerza for the Barrie Wrestling title, that's on YouTube. Like I said, that was a match that I was really happy with because I really did believe that Vertigo deserved to be champion and he deserved to have that recognition. So I did my best to make him look like a champion in that match. And I think it was the first main event that we both kind of had a bit of a better understanding for. Like, we had main evented other shows, but I think this was the first one where we kind of were starting to get a feel for wrestling. They say it takes 5 years before you even know what you're doing in wrestling, and that's definitely true. So I'm at like 6 or 7, and I'm just now starting to figure it out. So that match, definitely.
All right. And we are nearing the conclusion of this interview. So we are wrestling with the 8 questions of doom.
Dun, dun, dun.
No actual doom to be incorporated.
This is our speed round or bonus round, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to shoot 8 questions at you. You answer them to the best of your ability. Are you ready, Gabriel?
Ready?
Excluding yourself, greatest wrestler of all time.
Eddie Guerrero.
Worst wrestler of all time.
Oof. Goldberg.
Thank you. Your main eventing WrestleMania for the World Championship. Who is your opponent?
Randy Orton.
That's a good one.
Especially now.
If you could come out to anyone's entrance music, past or present, who would it be?
Ooh, Eddie Guerrero's last song. It was like Gangsta Lane. Probably that one.
That was a pretty good one.
Right. Gee.
Finish the sentence. Kayfabe is
Important.
squash, fruit or vegetable?
Vegetable.
I told y'all. See? Worldwide movement right there. Y'all keep trying to trick us into fruit. Everybody knows it's a damn vegetable.
It is
dang
indeed
fruit.
a fruit. Scientifically, it is a fruit. You may have not gotten the question right, but you are in good graces with Coleco Yachts now, which is much more important. Lead off squash squad right there. Alright, New Japan Pro Wrestler Taichi. His ring gear gets smaller every year, revealing more of himself to the world. My question, what is the appropriate trunks to butt cheek ratio for ring gear?
You know what? I think it depends on the wrestler. Because if I were to wear any sort of weens where my butt was sticking out, I would look ridiculous. But that's because I'm a little thick on my lower side, right? But you take somebody who has long legs, slender build, those things could be practically thongs and they look good in it.
Alright. Good answer.
Like Alicia Fox.
Yeah, like Alicia Fox.
And lastly, the main event, the question everybody wants to know. Have you ever had a conversation with a stranger in a supermarket about Darby Allin?
About Darby Allin? No.
And that is the correct answer. And that will conclude our interview for tonight. Thank you so much for coming on.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
And once again, where can we find you on social media?
On Twitter, you can find me at Fuerza S2Papi. On Instagram, Fuerza Rules. YouTube, Gabriel Fuerza. And I forgot to mention, I have a pro wrestling tees site. Just look up Gabriel Fuerza, you'll find me.
And all of that information will be in the description of the video below. Listen to the video, follow him on social media. Buy a shirt, damn it.
Please.
Until then, we do have our Saturday show coming up this Saturday. You can join us, me, Scooter, and Kaliko. And next Wednesday we have Braden Lee. On the 24th we have Mark Shaw. We have some other people coming up as well as that information becomes available to us. Until then, please like, subscribe, comment. Follow the show on Twitter at Wrestling with E, and you can always follow us individually. I'm at JamesJ993. Where can they find Scooter Dust?
As always, you can find me under your bed and in your closet. Your drinks look great, by the way. And Delilah, I'll be seeing you. You can find me at Scooter Dust and holding it down for the UNB network at UNBS Wrestling.
And where can they find Kaliko?
You can find me trying to mac on Alicia Fox. Don't tell my wife. And I am Kaliko.
Hey, Kaliko's wife.